Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Monte's Gems, connecting with the Creator. We're back looking over the struggles of Job
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what he's got going on and the depths of his life. So this week, we're going to go through chapters 11 through 15. So we'll get it started at chapter 11 here.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Zophar, the Namati, spoke up. Should this torrent of words be answered? Does talking a lot make a person right? Is your babble supposed to put others to silence? When you mock, is no one to make you ashamed? You claim that your teaching is pure. You tell God, I'm clean in your sight. I wish that God would speak, would open his mouth to answer you, would, would tell you the secrets of wisdom, which is worth twice as much as common sense. Understand that God is demanding of you less than your guilt deserves. Can you penetrate God's depths? Can you find out Shaddai's limits? They're as high as heaven. What can you do? They're deeper than Sheol. What can you know? Their extent is longer than the earth and broader than the sea. If he passes through, puts in prison, and assembles for judgment, who can prevent him? For he knows when people are worthless. So if he sees inequity, won't he look into it? An empty man can gain understanding, even if he was born like a wild donkey. If you will set your heart right, if you will spread out your own hands toward him, if you will put your iniquity at a distance, and not let unrighteousness remain in your tents, then you will lift up your face. There will be no defect. You will be firm and free from fear. For you will forget your misery. You remember it like a flood that passed through long ago. Your life will be brighter than noon. Even in its darkness will be like morning. You will be confident because there is hope. You will look around and lie down secure. You will rest, and no one will make you afraid. Many will seek your favor, but the eyes of wicked will fail to find comfort. They will find no way to escape, and their hope will turn to complete disappointment. What are your thoughts on that?
So this is just a continuation of kind of the conversation between Job and his friends, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's one of the other friends speaking.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, basically, what I'm getting is just my main takeaways is just kind of devoting yourself to God and freeing yourself from all of these burdens and sin, which is, I don't know, to put away the sin that is in your hand and allow no evil to dwell in your tent. I feel like that's kind of a difficult thing to do. I guess I don't understand the context of that. Is that just by, if you devote your life to him, to God, then sin will no longer dwell in your tent, or just kind of getting rid of sin altogether, or
Well, I think that as we look at his friends, I think it's very result driven advice. So they're looking at the circumstances based off what the results of what he currently is going through and what the circumstances. And so they're trying to go back, I think, and give him advice to see what caused this. And so they're
mm,
trying to come up with the ideas of what could have caused these events to be able to happen. And they're just trying to explain it. And I don't know if they have very good explanations or a very clear understanding of that. Uh, and I think that's one of the things that we all struggle with. And sometimes I think it's better that I think we'll find out to just maybe keep our mouths shut when
mm-hmm,
we're trying to give advice, because if we don't know exactly what caused someone to get to their current circumstances, we shouldn't come up with ideas or thoughts, because it doesn't really help solve the problem. All it does is just brings more ideas into someone's mind, or sometimes I think it even looks as uh, just being judgmental and not really sure what other word I was trying to think of for that, but accusatory, I guess. And it's
Right.
just, oh, well, this person is currently has this situation, so they must have done this, this, and
Right.
this. Like,
Yeah.
no, that it's not math.
Yeah.
Like a result, like circumstances in our life, like just because someone gets in an accident and gets hurt doesn't mean that they were a bad driver
Hmm.
or that they deserved it or anything like that. Could have just happened that somebody else ran a red light
Right.
and they weren't paying attention, and that's what caused that person to get hit. So always trying to have explanations for why things happening or happened, I think, is a really bad way of trying to offer advice. And so I think as we continue to
Yeah.
read through here, that's what we'll kind of see. So.
Yeah. It's also a good way of making the people who you're giving advice to very upset. And yeah, especially when you're coming at it at that angle and they kind of know how they've been living their life and you accusing them of this, that, and the other. And it's very, very easy to get angry at kind of a situation like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things like Jesus spoke is that don't pick the speckle out of your brother's eye when you have a log in your own,
Right.
right? So like we all have issues that we're dealing with. We all have issues in our own lives. So don't be trying to judge others and give them advice or when we're all dealing with things. Now, if there's clear evidence of maybe someone doing something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
like you get addicted to drugs or alcohol or
Right.
those types of things, like, okay, hey, dude, like, and when you said you can make people upset, well, even if someone is doing those types of things and
Yeah.
someone calls them
Yeah.
out on it, those people are probably still going to be pretty upset
Yeah.
about
That's
that
true.
because it's like, well, yeah, but you don't know what I'm going through. It's like, yeah, we don't, but
Yeah.
the way you're choosing to go through it isn't the healthiest of ways. So
Yeah. That's true. Alrighty. Chapter 12. Then Job replied, "Doubtless you are the only people who matter, and wisdom will die with you. But I have a mind as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know all these things? I have become a laughing stock to my friends. Though I called on God and he answered, a mere laughing stock, though righteous and blameless. Those who are at ease have contempt for misfortune as the fate of those whose feet are slipping. The tents of mortars are undisturbed, and those who provoke God are secure. Those God has in his hand. But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish in the sea inform you. Which of these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind. Does not the ear test words as the tongue tastes food? Is not wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding? To God belong wisdom and power. Counsel and understanding are his. What he tears down cannot be rebuilt. Those he imprisons cannot be released. If he holds back the waters, there is drought. If he lets them loose, they devastate the land. To him belong strength and insight. Both deceived and deceiver are his. He leads rulers away, stripped, and makes fools of judges. He takes off the shackles put on by kings and ties a loincloth around their waist. He leads priests away, stripped, and overthrows officials long established. He silences the lips of trusted advisers and takes away the discernment of elders. He pours contempt on nobles and disarms the mighty. He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into the light. He makes nations great and destroys them. He enlarges nations and disperses them. He deprives the leaders of the earth of their reason. He makes them wander into a trackless waste. They grope in darkness with no light. He makes them stagger like drunkards.
I think one of the things that I really appreciate maybe that I didn't used to look at was Job's ability to kind of stand up for himself and
Hmm.
present himself. Like when people, I think it's important for other people to be around him in this situation. And the issue is, instead of being supportive to him and trying to just maybe give him that hug that he needs, or just being a support system to him, they're trying to give advice.
Right.
And in them doing that, I think he's doing a really good job of just standing up for himself or sharing his struggles still, instead of just being like, oh yeah, like taking the victim mentality, be like, yeah, I've been bad, and just over emphasizing taking responsibility for his actions. Not to say that we shouldn't do that, but sometimes it's necessary to say, hey, like, listen, like, I, I've been a pretty good person, and
Hmm.
I don't know, just how he stand up for himself.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of what we were talking about in the last chapter of people giving advice and not really knowing the reasoning unless it's very clear. And Job is basically like, "Hey, why? Like, you're not above me. Like, I'm not inferior to you. Why are you acting like you are? Like, I'm a laughing stock now because of all of these things. It's like, for what reason?" And yeah, like you said, he's just kind of standing up for himself, and yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for us all to do that in all aspects of life. And I think sometimes through religion is that we can feel like we need to be like Jesus and have this servant mentality and just, serve people, or when people speak to us, kind of turn the cheek another way. And sometimes I think that gets just taken advantage of.
Hmm.
And I think it's important for us to stand up for ourselves and to set boundaries, clear, concise boundaries that are natural
Hmm.
and healthy, um, and to make sure we're not getting taken advantage of.
Hmm.
We'll go to chapter 13.
All right.
All this I have seen with my own eyes, with my own ears. I have heard and understood it. Whatever you know, I know too. I'm not inferior to you. However, it's Shaddai I want to speak with. I want to prove my case to God. But you, what you do is whitewash with lies. You are all witch doctors. I wish you would just stay silent. For you, that would be wisdom. Now listen to my reasoning. Pay attention to how I present my dispute. Is it for God's sake that you speak so wickedly? For him that you talk deceitfully? Do you need to take his side and plead God's case for him? If he examines you, will all go well? Can you deceive him as one man deceives another? If you are secretly flattering him, he will surely rebuke you. Doesn't God's majesty terrify you? Aren't you overcome with dread of him? Your maxims are garbage proverbs. Your answers crumble like clay. So be quiet. Let me be. I'll do the talking. Come on. What way? Come on me, what may. Why am I taking my flesh in my teeth, taking my life in my hands? Look, he will kill me. I don't expect more, but I will still defend my ways to his face. And this is what will save me, that a hypocrite cannot appear before him. Listen closely, then, to my words. Pay attention to what I am saying. Hear now, I have prepared my case. I know I am right. I am in the right. If anyone can contend with me, I will be quiet and die. Only grant two things to me, God. Then I won't hide myself from your face. Take your hand away from me, and don't let fear of you frighten me. Then if you call, I will answer. Or let me speak, and you answer me. How many crimes and sins have I committed? Make me know my transgression and sin. What do you hide? Why do you hide your face and think of me as your enemy? Do you want to harass a wind-driven leaf? Do you want to pursue a dry straw? Is this why you draw up bitter charges against me and punish me for the faults of my youth? You put my feet in the stocks. You watch me closely wherever I go. You trace out my footprint of mine. Through my body decays like something rotten or like a moth eaten garment.
Yeah,
So I
like,
think this is. Go
oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, like we were talking about. Job's basically saying, hey, sometimes it's more wise to just be quiet and stop giving advice and just don't speak sometimes is more wise in this circumstance. And he's just kind of saying, I guess he's just kind of asking God, like, show me what I've done wrong and show me my sins and speak to me.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that we all aspire to be, is to be able to be in that position like Job, to where
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're pure and blameless, that at the end of time you can look up to God and he would be say, well done, good and faithful servant, to be able to hear those
Mm-hmm.
types of words and to try to say, what have my transgressions been? Like, what have I done? How am I deserving of this? Like, and I think it's really important that, to see Job's belief and maybe faith or adherence to the commandments, to where he can stand strong and just be able to stand up for himself, and say these things. Like, it takes a very strong trust in who you've been. And I think Job is someone who could, if you think about, at the end of the day, being able to look in the mirror and be happy with not only that face that you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
back, but if you were to relive all the things, all the actions that you did over today, and you think about all of those things, how did you deal with other people? How did you deal with your family, when your significant other, with your friends, your coworkers? How did you deal with them? Are you pleased with how you handled your emotions, and how you worked through those things? Were there things you could have done better on? Are there things where you're just not being yourself, where you're being a fake, where you're being a fraud, to maybe not to yourself, but also to others? And you're just trying to get things from them, or you have an agenda. Like, Job, just, the way he just said all of those things, it would strike me as someone who'd be able to look in a mirror and just be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, like, I'm very confident in who I've been and who
Mm-hmm.
I am. I think he also understands that he can always do better,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the thing. We can't really strive for perfection, or maybe we can't be so hard on ourselves to think that we ought to be able to strive for perfection, because we can't. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we need to be more empathetic and gracious towards ourselves, to realize that we do make mistakes, and that to not sit there and resonate on those mistakes, but to ask for forgiveness in those mistakes, whether we've dishonor God or others or our friends or our families or coworkers, to be able to ask for that, to say I'm sorry, to do those things, but then to get back up and learn from it, and to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing better.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me like that's, Job's heart, is that he has that desire.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something to aspire to be. And like you were saying, not necessarily perfect, but just being the person, being the best person you can, and being confident in who you are, and kind of your actions speak louder than your words, and you don't have to back it up with words, and your actions speak for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's well said. Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty, chapter 14.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Mortals born of woman are of few days and of full of trouble. They spring up like flowers and wither away. Like fleeting shadows, they do not endure. Do you fix your eye on them? Will you bring them before you for judgment? Who can bring what is pure from the impure? No one. A person's days are determined. You have decreed the number of his months and have set limits he cannot exceed. So look away from him and let him alone till he has put in his time like a hired laborer. At least there is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again, and its new shoots will not fail. Its roots may grow old in the ground, and its stump die in the soil, yet at the scent of water it will bud, and put forth shoots like a plant. But a man dies and is laid low. He breathes his last and is no more. As the water of a lake dries up or a riverbed becomes parched and dry, so he lays down and does not rise. Till the heavens are no more, people will not awake or be roused from their sleep. If only you would hide me in the grave and conceal me till your anger has passed. If only you would set me a time and then remember me. If someone dies, will they live again? All the days of my hard service I will wait for my renewal to come. You will call, and I will answer you. You will long for the creature your hands have made. Surely then you will count my steps, but not keep track of my sin. My offenses will be sealed up in a bag. You will cover over my sin. But as a mountain erodes and crumbles, and as rock is moved from its place, as water wears away stones, and torrents wash away the soil, so you destroy a person's hope. You overpower them once and for all, and they are gone. You change their countenance and send them away. If their children are honored, they do not know it. If their offspring are brought low, they do not see it. They feel but the pain on their own bodies and mourn only for themselves.
Yeah, I think this is just more, it's more of him asking God questions to try to understand, and I think to present his case. And I think, it's important for all of us to, one, be in such a good standing where you can ask these types of questions. I think he just has a real big desire to just hear from God's voice, to hear God's voice, to be able to have that. And I think that's one of the reasons that disconnecting with the creator part of the podcast was important to me, because I feel like I've disconnected from the creator. Some of my own doing, maybe feeling like I wanted to get out of religion and the legalism and just the feeling that I had while I was in it, and some of the uncomfortability that came from it. And just sometimes it was also the sense of family that I once felt, and then to where I felt like totally rejected and rebuked from it. And it was just like, what did I do? Like, what have I done for you guys to treat me this way? To where I just like, I don't really even want to be part of that anymore. It's just like, I don't want to be part. And then I go to different churches and areas, and I just feel like, oh my gosh, like, what are they doing? What is this? Like, this does not feel good. I don't feel accepted here. I just don't feel comfortable. And to where, I think it's important for us all to be in a position where we're just dealing back and forth and with God, and speaking back and forth directly to him, and being able to ask these types of questions.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to get any of these answered to something that is acceptable of him or not, I don't know. But it's important to ask questions and to share our thoughts. And here we see him sharing our thoughts with God, but I think it's also part of healthy communication to share this with other when we're troubled, or when we have issues with the things that are going on in our lives, and whether it's God or whether it's our boss or anybody in our lives that we feel like we're not on good terms with, or they've offended us, or they've concerned us to the point where we have questions. And sometimes I think it's easier for us to talk about those things to other people, just be like, oh, like, and just kind of get it off of our chest and shoulders. I'm not saying that it's not good, but sometimes it's just really good. You just got to present the case, and you got to have difficult conversations and say, hey, listen, like, this isn't working for me. I don't really like the position that this is going, the way these things are going. And so we need to talk about it. We need to try to figure this out, whether we can come to an agreement to how we can resolve this, to where we both feel healthy, and to where we're both enjoying this relationship, whether, whatever that might be, or whether we need to just separate ways and we're not on a mutual understanding here. And I think sometimes it has to do with moral standards and a lot of different things go into play. But I think I grew up with the impression that you just don't talk about these things, and you just kind of hope that they get better, and they don't ever get better. But the way that they get better is by us growing and learning how to deal with them and communicate, and so that we can make our lives better because we stand up for ourselves, we set those boundaries, and we realize when it's time to move on. Sometimes it's easier to have a disagreement or an argument and realize, wow, this, I needed to have that so that I could realize that this isn't for me, and so now I'm going over here. Because previously I just hoped and prayed that this would work out and that it would continue to work out, and I didn't say anything, and it was like, well, that was stupid, when we could have just had this argument and ended this a long time ago, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think that was well said.
All right, we'll go to chapter 15.
Alrighty.
Then Eliphaz the Temana spoke. Should a wise man answer with hot air arguments? Should he fill up his belly with the hot east wind? Should he reason with useless talk, or make speeches that do him no good? Why are you abolishing? Why? You are abolishing fear of God and hindering prayer to him. Your iniquity is teaching you how to speak, and deceit is your language of choice. Your own mouth condemns you, not I. Your own lips testify against you. Were you the firstborn of the human race, brought forth before the hills? Do you listen in on God's secrets? Do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we don't know? What discernment do you have that we don't? With us are gray-haired men, old men, much older than your father. Are the comfortings of God not enough for you, or a word that deals gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away? Why do your eyes flash angrily, so that you turn your spirit against God and let such words escape your mouth? What is a human being that he could be innocent? Someone born from a woman that he could be righteous? God doesn't trust even his holy ones. No, even the heavens are not innocent in his view. How much less one loathsome and corrupt? A human being who drinks iniquity like water. I will tell you, hear me out. I will recount what I have seen. Wise men have told it, and it wasn't hidden from their fathers either. To whom alone the land was given, no foreigner passed among them. The wicked is in torment all his life, for all the years allotted to the tyrant. Terrifying sounds are in his ears, and prosperity robbers swoop down on him. He despairs of returning from darkness, he is destined to meet the sword. He wanders and looks for food, which isn't there. He knows the day of darkness is ready at hand. Distress and anguish overwhelm him, assaulting him like a king about to enter battle. He raises his hand against God and boldly defies Shaddai, running against him with head held high and thickly ornamented shield. He lets his face grow gross and fat, and the rest of his bulges with blubber. He lives in abandoned cities, in houses no one would inhabit, houses about to become ruins. Therefore, he will not remain rich, his wealth will not endure, his produce will not bend, the grain stalks to the earth. He will not escape from darkness, the flame will dry up his branches. By a breath from the mouth of God, he will go away. Let him not rely on futile methods, thereby deceiving himself. For what he will receive in exchange will be only futility. This will be accomplished in advance of its day. His palm frond will not be fresh and green. He will be like a vine that sheds its unripe grapes, like an olive tree that drops its flowers. For the community of the ungodly is sterile. Fire consumes the tenants of bribery. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil. Their womb prepares deceit.
Some of these chapters are just so hard to follow because they, like, kind of when we were going over the New Testament, or we were going through the book of Matthew and kind of talking about how Jesus speaking in parables and never really being exact with his intentions or what he means exactly. It's these conversations kind of feel that same way. Like, they're saying something directly, kind of, but they are, I don't know. For me, it's at least hard to follow.
Well, it's not that it's just hard to follow. I try to look at it at another level of like, what is there to learn from this? Like, what's the purpose of you speaking to me in a parable so that I have to guess?
Mm-hmm.
That's like dealing with someone who's passive aggressive. It's like, okay, like, are you joking around here? Are you just trying to be funny?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you trying to present something that I may not understand or have heard of? Like, can you just be clear and direct in your communication and let me know what it is you expect of me instead of
Right.
like kind of beating around the bush? And so that's where I think when you go to the parables, it's like, oh, well, that determines your faith. And it's like, well, man, let's quit with all of this. Oh, well, if you believe the parables and you try to understand them, like, then that will increase your faith. It's like, no, like, why are we testing people's faith like that? Why does everything have to be so vague
Mm-hmm.
and so mystical to where, oh, we can see what your real belief is? It's like,
Yeah.
no, why don't we just see what people's real belief is based on their actions by giving them the right material in terms of rules and regulations so that they can decide if they want to abide by them or not, instead of leaving it off to wonder. It's like, oh, well, that could be this, it could be this, it
Mm-hmm.
could be a lot of things. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like, I mean,
Yeah.
how would you, you and your wife, how would you like it if, like, at the end of each day, she spoke to you in parables, and so it's just like it's left up to you to try to guess, like, what she expects from you in terms of how you love her,
Mm-hmm.
what she wants from you, or anything like that. It's like that's not going to be a healthy relationship.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I appreciate about Job through this process is that he's direct. He speaks clearly what he wants, and
Mm-hmm.
whether there's clarity in it. And I think it's important for us all to speak in that type of clarity when we're asking for something or when we're being direct,
Yeah.
when we're trying to communicate. It's like not trying to sugarcoat things so that hopefully they'll do it so that you can kind of take advantage of them and get them to do this over here. Like, oh, if I dangle this, hopefully they'll bite.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but they won't ask any questions so that I can keep pulling and pulling and pulling. And it's just like, listen, like, give them the options, tell them what you're looking for, tell them what they're looking for, and decide if this is going to work or not. And if not, that's okay. But instead of just fighting back and forth and making it such a miserable experience to where they didn't want it and you just tried to force it.
Right. Yeah.
I think while Job is a very difficult book to read, I think that there's a lot of application in it in terms of our daily lives and how we're all struggling, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
with life or with, maybe mental health or, fear of the news. Like, we're just emotional beings, right? So everything's coming at us and we're just trying to deal. We're trying to survive. We're trying to be able to live out our wants and our desires, and we're trying to feel accepted. We're trying to have family, enjoy life. And so there's a lot of things that we have to figure out as we progress to have maybe a good life and an enjoyable life that we want to live. And so it can be very stressful at times, and I think it's really important to read these types of books and understand that we're not alone in
Mm-hmm.
dealing with these types of things.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a part of trying to progress and do better and understand, instead of just like you're saying, oh, like, I'm never going to figure this out, all right, so I'm going to stop trying. I think that's very, very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's 5 chapters tonight in Job. We're getting through. This is quite a long book. So,
Yeah. 40 something chapters.
yeah. And it seems like it's just back and forth with the same stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next week, you'll probably hear us talk about the exact same stuff we talked about last week and the week before that.
Yep.
As it'll be out of Job.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Thanks for joining, everybody.
Yep. See ya.